I'm here to take you guys through step by step on how you can do your own makeup. So if you think makeup is difficult, it really isn't. You just haven't learned exactly how to follow through on how to do it yourself in the comforts of your home. In today's video, I'm going to be showing you step by step how to achieve a flawless base, brows, lash application, the different kinds of primers, setting sprays, and everything that you're going to need to be able to achieve flawless makeup. So if that's what you're here for, then stay tuned. Hey friends, hey Shade Twins, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, hello, my name is Terry, and today I'm going to be taking you through how I was able to achieve this flawless beginner-friendly makeup look. Go ahead, grab your makeup products, and let's go through step by step together. So our first step is going to be our skin prep, and that is starting off with our moisturizers of choice. If you ask me, the first step in your makeup routine should be moisture. I've already gone in with my toner, so I'm going to go in with my moisturizers. Now this is my moisturizers of choice. I'm going to first apply my COSRX Snail Mucin. I like to focus a lot of the moisturizer underneath my eyes as well to make sure that there isn't any dryness in that area. The Advanced Snail Mucin Essence is optional, but this is a non-negotiable for me in my makeup routine. Next, I'm going to go in with the Snail Mucin Moisturizer. In my last makeup video, I really emphasized on the importance of applying your moisturizer to create a tacky base for your makeup absorption. Now, I have dry eyelids, so I like to make sure that my eyelids are also moisturized. You really do want to have that tacky feel. When you touch your skin, there is this stretch, or when you look at your skin, you can see so much hydration in your skin after you've applied your moisturizer. Now, that is what we are going for. You always have to apply moisturizer before you go in with your primers. Depending on how good your moisturizer is, you can also skip the primer stage. But now I'm going to be going in with my primer, and the primer that I'm going to be using is a Milk Makeup Hydro Grip Primer. So if the Hydro Grip primer is a little above your budget, there is also an e.l.f. dupe for this same primer, and I've heard from reviews that it's literally the same thing. Heard a lot of good things about it. I'm going to be focusing the Hydro Grip mainly at the perimeters of my face. Now, depending on your skin type, you can also go in with a mattifying primer. This is more of a hydrating primer. You can go in with a mattifying primer mainly on the areas of your face where you have oils being produced. Now, I want this makeup to last the whole day because I have a long day of filming scheduled. So I'm going to also go in with a mattifying primer in my T-zone area, usually where I usually produce oils. The mattifying primer that I'm going to be using today is a Power Seal Sweat and Oil Snag Toner. And with this particular mattifying primer, you definitely need to go in with a tissue or kind of a cotton pad, because I just find that it works much better when you do that. And you're just going to dab that on the areas of your face where you typically produce more oils. My brow area is very oily as well, so I tend to apply a lot of the mattifying primer on my brow areas as well. This is a Nigerian product from Mersmetics, and you guys know I love Mersmetics products. Mersmetics, reach out to me. I love your product. So now that my face is all primed up, our next step is going to be brows. Now, I use three main products for my brows, and that is a brow sculpt, a brow pencil, and a brow gel. The tool you're going to also need is a brow spoolie. For my brow gel, I like to go in with the Got To Be Gelled, the original formula, and then I just use any spoolie brush. You can also get the disposable ones as well. Now for the brow pencil, any generic brow pencil would do, but I really do love the Miss Loretta brow pencils because it's not too dark. It always comes in handy to make sure that your brow tip is super sharp, and the Miss Loretta brow pencils always come with a brow sharpener, so you really don't have an excuse not to sharpen that tip of your pencil. I'm gonna be using the Ebony brow gel. This is the particular brow gel, and this is the shade. When it comes to makeup, more expensive really doesn't mean better quality. You can get high quality products for affordable prices. It might take you a little time to find them, but they're out there. One tip I'm going to put you guys on today is using the Duoline solution, or So Pro also has one. I think it's called the mixing solution, and it looks something like this. You can use this to mix anything from eyeshadow, foundation. I like to put it in my brow gels, my eyeliner, my liquid eyeliners, or eyeshadow. I put it in almost just anything that I feel that the consistency has become slightly unworkable, adding this product to that particular makeup product helps it become a consistency that you can easily work with. I'm going to brush my brows and then go in with the brow gel. I've been using hair gel for my brows for the longest time, so I haven't really had a need to get an actual brow gel because this works perfectly for me. So if you try it out and you don't really like it, you can actually purchase the brow gel. This is just what I'm going to use to tame my brows, and I use this spoolie to just brush the products in, and I go in with my brow pencil and then flatten it out. Now I'm going to be filling in any sparse areas with the brow pencil, and it glides on almost perfectly. I like to use my brow pencil and I look at where the pupil of my eye, the black one, is, and then I just align it with where my brow arch should be. So that is what I'm pointing to, and then I use that to outline exactly where my brow arch should be. I also use the outer line of my eye to determine where my tail end of my brows is supposed to be. I'm filling it in with the lightest strokes possible, and I sometimes go against the grade to make sure that I'm filling in the areas where the hairs are itself. Always checking with my pencil to make sure that the tip of my brows is not going beyond the outline that I've drawn. You can now go in with any large glue that you have, and I'm going to pass that through my brows, and as I place that on, I'm going to make sure that I have my brow spoolie on hand. This is just going to completely seal those brow hairs in, and right now your brow hairs are not going to move for the rest of the day. Please remember to use a small amount of this. Brush them through your brows, shape the brows exactly how you want the hairs to lay. And right now I'm going to go in with my brow gel. Now this is a Mr. Joseph Kitty liner brush. As you can see, the tip is very thin and very fine. This is what I'm going to be using with my brow gel. Now you only need a very small amount of this. I like to go in on the back of to clean off any excess, and I'm going to be using all this products for my brows. Press it down to make sure that the tip of the brow brush is super thin. So doing your brows with the viewfinder is not it. So I'm going to be using this to fill in any sparse areas of my brows. And I'm going to be doing hair-like strokes. And then I'll use this to clean up my arch. Make sure you're framing your brows to exactly your face shape. In the world of makeup, there are different kinds of brow shapes. You just have to keep on trying and figuring out exactly which one suits your exact face shape. So now we pretty much have an overview for how we want the brows to look. So I'm going to go in and clean the outlines of my brows. First of all, I'm going to be cleaning the upper parts of my brows with my foundation shade, and then for the outer parts, which is the highlighted areas of my brows, I'm going to use a lighter concealer. Not so light, maybe 1 to 2 shades lighter than me. I'm going to be using these two products, the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Chestnut, and my Estee Lauder Double Wear foundation in the shade Deep Spice. So if you're my shade twin, Estee Lauder Deep Spice. You're also going to need a brush. I like to use this flat concealer brush. If you have a smaller brush, that is going to be great. I like to apply the lighter shade first, and because this already has the applicator, I'm not going to go in with the brush. I'm just going to apply that directly on the areas where I want it. And then I'm going to apply my foundation shade on the perimeters of my brows. But I like to apply the darker shade in the inner parts of my brows to create a feathered transition between the lighter concealer and the darker concealer. So not only am I cleaning, but I'm also creating dimension in the brows. And then I'm going to be blending this side together with my Deluxe Crease Brush from Real Techniques. I blend them together to make sure that there is no harsh lines in between, and you can't really tell where brow highlighter shade starts and where it ends. Now, since it's your foundation shade, you can extend whatever product that is left after blending upwards, because you're still going to be applying your foundation on those areas anyways. So your makeup is always going to turn out good if you take your time to blend. Now, this is how the brows turned out. Because we applied the oil controlling primer around the brow areas, we know we are good. There is not going to be any oiling or wiping off or creasing of our brows. Our brows are good for the day. Make sure you're genuinely using just a small amount of products underneath your brows for the highlighting and for the defining process. And also, after doing your brows, if you feel like made any mistakes, you can easily go back in with the same brushes and then clean up any areas. So at the inner parts of my brows, I'm going to go in with my concealer brush, and I'm going to brush that with whatever product is left on it. I'm going to brush that through the front parts of my brow so that it doesn't look too harsh and it doesn't look too boxy. I generally do that to give my brows that threaded brow effect. So now moving on to the next step of our makeup, which is foundation and concealer application. I'm going to be using two foundations today. And when it comes to foundations, we have different types of foundations. We have the hydrating foundations, we have matte foundations, we have full coverage foundations, we have dewy foundations. So whichever suits your skin and the particular occasion that you're in. Today I'm going to be using the Myrick's Yummy Skin Blurring Balm. I'm in the shade 9. The Estee Lauder, as I mentioned, I'm in the shade Deep Spice. Because the Estee Lauder doesn't come with a pump, I like to apply it with my brush. Just go in with a little bit on my mixing palette. And at this point, I've done this so many times, I know just about the amount that I need to apply all over my face. So I'm going to be using my applicator brush to apply a little bit of it on the perimeters of my face. Because of how often I do this, just have a ballpark idea of how much foundation I need to go all over my face. Now when it comes to blending out your foundation, you can either go in with a brush or you can go in with your beauty blender. Now I like to go in with a brush because it doesn't pick up too much product, and because it's skin, I don't drag. I just tap to make sure that the product gets absorbed into my skin, and I usually just bring the product from the outer to the inner parts of my face. The Estee Lauder is a full coverage long wear foundation, so I'm not worried about transfer or having a light coverage when I use this foundation. It's actually the best foundation I've used so far. I love this foundation so much. If you've been following my channel for a while, you know I've been using this foundation for years and years and years. Of course, the shades have changed over time, either to a much lighter shade or maybe darker shade, depending on the seasons I'm in. So for the inner parts of my face, I'm going to go in with the Yummy Skin Blurring Balm from the Myrick's because of its oil controlling ability, and it's not so thick. Can't find the applicator. So for the life of me, I can't seem to find the applicator, so I'm just going to go in with this much, and you're going to see the blurring effect of this foundation. You can use the Myrick's Blurring Balm on its own, and I do use this alone when I don't want to go in with maybe a full coverage foundation. I just want something light for my skin to feel like skin. I like to go in with just this, but I don't want so much product underneath my eyes, and I want it to have that glaring effect. That is why I'm going in with the Myrick's in the inner parts of my face and the Estee Lauder in the perimeters of my face. I'm going to be using the same brush to blend that out. I'm going to be dragging it inwards. Because I tend to have smile lines forming, I also like to apply the Myrick's in the inner portions. If you're like me and you struggle with the formation of smile line when you apply your makeup after a period of time, the Myrick's Yummy Skin Foundation is the GOAT. Now I'm going to also be applying concealer in those parts. So sometimes it might seem as if my foundation shade is lighter, but that is really not the case. It matches my chest. So I blended down my neck to make sure that my face and my neck are evenly colored. I'm going to go in with my beauty blender to pick up any excess product that is sitting on my face. You can actually apply your foundation only using your beauty blender, but it tends to pick up a lot of the product, and we don't want that. I want to have that coverage and then go in with the beauty blender to pick up any excess. So now we're going to be moving on to concealer, and I'm going to be using the same shade that I applied on my brow area, which is the Too Faced Born This Way concealer in the shade Chestnut. And I'm going to be applying that in the center of my face, right here, and then I'm going to be dragging that out. Then I'm going to apply some down the bridge of my nose as a pre-contour. This is typically the placement of my concealer. So this is to highlight my face, and this brings back the light. For contour, I'm going to be using the TM bronzer, and this is probably the darkest shade that they have. I'm going to be using this as a nose contour. So I'm going to blend out my contour first, and then I'm going to let the concealer sit a little before I blend it out. I'm going to be blending out my contour using my contour brush. Blending out my contour. And I like to blend it upwards. This just pulls up the product and pulls up your face rather than dragging it. So when it comes to contour placement, I like to blend upwards and not onwards. So I'm sure the concealer has been sitting for a while, so I'm going to dab out my concealer because I'm sure by now it's been sitting for a while, so it's become a little more tacky. This just gives you so much more coverage. And I'm going to be blending it using my beauty blender. When it comes to blending out your concealer, you can also either use a brush or your blending sponge. So this is a step that I prefer to use my blending sponge for. And with whichever excess concealer I have on my face, I'm going to the bridge of my nose as a nose contour highlight. So once I'm done with this, I'm going to blend out my nose contour as well. Just going to be using a fluffy brush to blend out my contour, my nose contour as well, so I don't have too much of a harsh line between my concealer and my contour. I like to bring my contour also into my brow area as well to just give you that smooth transition between contour and the brows. And in this part, I go in circular motion. So now we're going to go in with blush, and I like to use this palette. This is my liquid lipstick palette, and it truly is the same consistency of product. That is why I use this one, and I can see I have used and abused this particular shade palette. I'm going to take a little bit and apply that on my mixing palette, and I like to use the bottom of my beauty blender to apply and I like to place that on the upper part of my face down. Before I go in and apply my setting powder, I'm going to make sure that I've blended out the concealer to make sure that I don't have any harsh lines under my eyes. Because after you've set, you cannot undo. I'm going to go in with a powder puff, and I'm just going to tap that Laura Mercier translucent setting powder, and I'm going to tap any excess off into the cover of the pan before I go in and apply it. So a powder puff is a must-have investment in your makeup, because since I started using a powder puff in the inner corners of my eyes, I have noticed such a huge difference, guys. I don't know if it's a powder puff and Laura Mercier, but guys, you can't go wrong with this duo. So I'm going to tap corners. I like to apply any other excess product all around my face. So now that the face is set, I'm going to go in with powder bronzer. So after you've used liquid products, you then go in with the powder products. And this is my Black Radiance True Match palette. So I'm going to be using the sculpting shade on my nose, and then I'm going to be using the contour shade on the perimeters of my face. To give my eyes that lifted look, I like to go in with the contour shade and I drag that on the outer corners of my face into my hairline. So I'm going to go in with this shade for my blush. This is an eyeshadow palette, yes, I know, but I like to still nonetheless use that to set I hardly ever apply actual eyeshadows, so I most likely will use my eyeshadow palettes as blush, because I do have quite a number of eyeshadow palettes that I don't use. So I'm going to go and apply some of that down the bridge of my nose as well, just to give me some pop of color. So I'm going to be going in with my wing liner next, And I'm going to be using the Nyanga Beauty Gel Liner and a tiny angled brush. In order to get a perfect wing liner, I just had to remain silent because there's no way I'll be able to talk and do my wing liner at the same time without it getting messy. I also went ahead to tightline my waterline as well. This just helps your eyeliner to pop even more. So I'm going to do the same thing on the other eye and then come back. So to make my waterline pop even more, I'm going to be going in with the black eyeshadow, and this is my Makeup Obsession palette, and I'm going to go in with the darkest shade just to tightline my waterline. This is to add even more dimension to your eyes. So I'm going to go in and apply my lashes, and I really want to do that on camera with you guys. So the first thing I'm going to do is take my lash glue, and this is the Blossom Makeup Lash Glue. This is literally the best lash glue I've used so far. So I'm going to apply a little bit of the lash glue on my lash line first, on exactly where I'm going to be placing my... I'm also going to be putting lash glue on the lash band as well. This is for double security. So if you find that your lashes tend to pop off in the inner corners or the outer corners, this is an extra step to prevent that from happening. I'm also going to go in with my mascara, and I'm going to apply that on my lashes right after I've applied the glue. This is a lash set that I'm going to be using today. I'm going to cut off, usually I think these lashes are a little bigger than my eyes, so I really like to cut off, make sure that it fits my eyes perfectly. I like to cut off the inner, I think you can see this part, the inner and then the outer band, just to remove that end so it doesn't have anything that is going to be poking me on the inner parts of my eyes. So I've cut that off. So I'm going to size it and make sure that in case I need to cut any off, it's perfect. I wouldn't need to cut off anything. So I'm going to apply the lash glue onto the lash band. Please be generous with the amount of glue that you're applying onto your lash band, because this is what is going to help hold the lashes to your eyes, and it's not going to be moving around. So be heavy-handed when applying the lash glue on the inner and the outer corners. So I'm going to be using my lash tweezers. So this is how I'm going to place the lashes, going straight across, and I'm going to just drop the lashes on like so, and then fiddle it around to make sure that it's well placed at exactly where I need it to be. So I'm going to use the tweezers to clamp the lashes and my real lashes together to make sure that there isn't any, to make sure that my lashes and the false lashes blend together perfectly. So see the difference between lash and no lash? It makes such a huge difference. So I'm going to go in and apply these lashes as well. So lashes are on. I'm going to go in with my Charlotte Tilbury airbrush powder underneath my eyes to give you that blurred under eye effect. And I'm in the shade 4. So all my shade twins, I'm putting you guys on. So you're going to dust off any excess powder that you have right before I go in and apply. I'm first going to go in with a setting mist, and this is my Mario Badescu setting mist. I'm going to go all over my face, and this is just to melt the powders to make sure that you don't have any powdery looks and your makeup just looks flawless. A setting or a sealing spray prevents your makeup from moving all day long, but so while my setting spray is doing what it needs to do, my lip makeup, I'm first going to align my lips using my Cosmetics brow pencil because it's a dark brown pencil. This is the same brow pencil. This is the same brown pencil that I used to fill in my brows. So it's pretty much the same shade that I need to outline my lips. And I'm not going to be overlining. I'm just going to be staying within the lines of my lips, and I'm going to go in with a small brush. Any small brush would do, just to blend in the lipstick so I don't have too much of harsh line. And then I'm going to go in with this peach nude matte lipstick. I've been using this lipstick for non-stop since I got it. I just found that it complements my skin so much. I'm going to blend those two together so that nobody can tell where the brown liner is starting and where it's ending. Blending in makeup is key, guys. I've been saying that since the start of this video. I'm going to go back in with my brow pencil. Now I'm debating if I should go in with a clear lip gloss or not. So I'm going to be applying some clear lip gloss on my lips as well, just to make the whole lip look pop even more. Gloss just makes everything better. For the last step, I'm going to go in with my L'Oreal Telescopic Mascara, and I'm going to apply that on the bottom lashes, on my bottom lashes, because it looks like there's not much going on around that area. So guys, this is the final look. Anytime I have to go out, this is the look that I mostly reach out for. I'm glad you were able to follow through to the end of this video. I'm sure you've been able to learn a thing or two from this video about how to do your own makeup and how to come out with results like this. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below, and let me know if you guys have any other questions or concerns. If you learned something new from this video, let me know in the comment section down below, and I'll see you in my next video next week. But until then, stay safe and stay blessed.